Good morning to you, and thank you for finding time to be with us today. The day is the 16th of June 2022. The show is Good Morning Africa. My name is Miriam Ogutu, and as usual, it is a pleasure to have you on board. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're tuned in and watching us from today. So I'll bring us up to date with the latest by taking us through the headlines this morning, and I'll start with the leading newspapers from the Republic of Kenya. We'll start with the Star newspaper. The main headline: How Jubilee plotted downfall of Sakaja. Kenya's envoy to Uganda obtained Sakaja academic credentials from Team University. The story is on page 4 and 5. And Zambia, the main pictorial there is President Uhuru Kenyatta and Zambian President Hichilema. He is in Kenya for a state visit. I think this is his first time as a president. Remember, he was elected sometimes back last year. And then Joey trial court visits Monica's murder scene and Jackie Maribe's home. The story is on page 2. Could rogue cop be behind house robberies in upscale Nairobi? The story is on page 3. Auditor flags irregular 1.7 billion Kenya shillings spending on ministries consultants. The story is on page 8 on the Star newspaper. The Daily Nation, the main headline: Fall of Sakaja. The Nairobi super senator is caught in a race against time over the validity of his Ugandan university degree that could also lock him out of the city governorship race. 2 days of high drama culminated yesterday in the revocation of his papers by the Commission for University Education and his lengthy tirade against President Kenyatta, whom he accused of personally supervising his fall. The drama continued last evening as the tribunal hearing the case against him refused to admit the new letter from Commission for University Education. The story is on page 12 and 13. But over further, will they pass the degree test? Plus, where judiciary is a weak link, and we see Malala's photo. I thought Malala was cleared. I think there was evidence he went to USIU, but I see his photo here. I see Linturi, Mithika Linturi. I see Simba Rati and the gubernatorial aspirant for Machakos, Wavinya Ndeti. I believe their photos are there. So, all right. More pain as millers raise cost of unga. Prices of Kenya's maize meal staple have more than doubled in the last 2 months, with a 2 kg packet now retaining at an average of 200 Kenya shillings. Okay, I didn't even know that. In parts of the country, up from 85 at the start of the year. All right. The story is on page 8. Really hard times for Kenyans. And 4 arrested as police step up hunt for Rongai felons. Detectives pursuing 6 men captured on security surveillance cameras attacking the and robbing a woman in the city suburb of Rongai on Sunday are investigating the cash transaction histories of the prime suspects, 4 of whom are in custody while their leader remains at large. Preliminary investigations indicate that the criminal gang operates from Kawangware. The story is on page 10. Kenya defaults on 5 billion Kenya shillings Aror and Kimorel loans, unable to meet its international debt obligations. The government piles on the interest and penalties, shows new report by an Auditor General. The story is on page 7. NTSA in court on car theft and logbook fraud claims. In court filings, the National Transport and Safety Authority is accused of aiding an insurance agent fraudulently acquire a client's car. The story is on page 27. And on politics, Wajakoya and the making of a legend, how the Roots master is changing the political game, even as he is accused of bad messaging. The story is on page 6. The Standard newspaper, the main headline: the 1 million votes that could threaten poll. With less than 2 months to election day, IEBC bosses are scratching their heads over the transmission of nearly 1 million votes in some 1,200 polling stations that lack network coverage, as Commission Chair Wafula Chebukati and Communication Authority's Chief Ezra Chiloba engage in political ping-pong over who should take responsibility. The story is on page 6. Father and son enroll for lower primary school. That's a good thing. The story is on page 3. Friendly fire rocks Raila Ruto teams. The story is on page 8 and 9. KRA's new system to catch cheats. The story is on page 26. last lap for the World Rally Championships, I believe, Safari Rally teams. The story is on page 53. What state's shock plan and subsidy of oil means. All right. And of course, we know that Treasury plans to phase out a fuel subsidy program that has cushioned Kenyans from the shocks of high petroleum products prices, claiming it benefits the rich at the expense of the poor. We explore the arguments and why Kenyans should brace for tougher times. That story is on page 4 and 5. And of course, the story just down there, Johnson Sakaja, man and a sage. Nairobi Senator Johnson Sakaja usually does not hide much about his life. Yet, from the public knowledge gleaned from his past statements, questions have cropped up that now threaten to collapse his bid for Nairobi governor's seat. The story is on page 11. So that is what we have on the leading newspapers from the country this morning. Let me bring us some headlines from across Africa and others from outside, and we start with The Guardian from the UK. Prime Minister under pressure again as second ethics advisor quits. And then Patel faces outcry over Rwanda shambles. That is the, what do you call it, Foreign Affairs Minister, And then the Daily Telegraph, Lord Gate resigns as Johnson's ethics chief. Very well. And then the Daily Monitor from Uganda, Ugandans fly to death in job hunt. That is what we have there. And then some stories just beside that. NUP MPs defy Bobby on returning 40 million Kenya shillings cash. Not Kenya shillings, 40 million Uganda shillings. So I have to translate that in my head and see how much would that be in Kenya shillings or the US dollars for our viewers outside of Kenya. The new vision from Uganda, how women will share 800 billion Ugandan shillings grant, and then Air Force to pursue ADF, says Museveni, and that is the main pictorial there. And DRC conflict, Uganda on alert over fighting at border. That is on page 3. I tell you, the war in DRC is spilling over, and I think over the weekend, some attacks happened, and soldiers from the Democratic Republic of Congo side had to run to Uganda to take cover. They were overrun by the M23 rebels in that side of Uganda. The DRC. The Punch newspaper from Nigeria, Wike Okowa face panel today. Comes fight over Atiku's VP slot. So that is what we have on the Punch from Nigeria. And the Guardian still from Nigeria. VP APC still consulting as PDP screens Wike today. That is what we have. And the Nation still from Nigeria. Last minute intrigues in PDP over Atiku's running mate. Ikimi panel to screen Wike. Anxiety among party chiefs over choice. And that's interesting. And the Daily News fears rise for 2023 national elections. This is from Zimbabwe. And as orgy of violence flares up in Nyatsime after Ali's murder, and CAZ confronts cancer at farms. And then we look at the news today, still from Zimbabwe. Hospitals turn away pregnant women, and survey predicts Chamisa victory. Okay, that is the opposition leader, and he has now a new party called CCC. And the Citizen from Tanzania, budget pros and cons according to analysts. There you go. So that is what we have. Some of the newspapers from Kenya and others, a few from Africa, and I think a couple of them from the UK. So you are now up to date. So as I wait for my panelists to join me this morning, I'd like us to take us through this story, let me see, of Sakaja and how he's accusing the president to have gone out of his way, the government of Kenya to have gone out of its way to get his credentials on the other side. You would think that will make it easier for him, because I think when the government is, no wonder those papers were signed very quickly within a day, and it was quite efficient, and Kenyans have been wondering. So let me just read us through and see what this is about. So we do have that story on the front page of the Star newspaper, and it's the main headline. So page 4 and 5 on the Star newspaper. How Sakaja's opponents plotted to kill Nairobi bid. So this is a well strategic plot, apparently. When UDA named Johnson Sakaja its candidate for Nairobi governorship, his opponents celebrated. They immediately laid out an elaborate plan that would ensure the senator would not win the Nairobi governor's race if by any chance he ended up on the ballot. The first part of the plan was a check at the University of Nairobi, where Sakaja claimed to have studied actuarial science some time back. We placed people in all the key places who gave us all the information just in case anyone tried to create fake records. We then leaked that information on social media, and that scared all of those who might have wanted to help. One of those involved in the plan confided to the Star. Okay. Now, once IBC cleared Sakaja, his opponents set out to find out how. And when Sakaja got the degree from Team University in Uganda, they found out who collected the degree certificate on his behalf, when it was printed, and by whom. So elaborate was the scheme that Kenya's acting ambassador to Uganda, Richard Mutwota, was involved in. A letter dated June 10, 2022. Mutwota wrote to Team University asking for confirmation of Sakaja's academic credentials, and the Star has quoted part of that letter. With this foregoing, the High Commission requests for a copy of the students' registration and graduation list booklets indicating the year when Sakaja registered as a student and graduated after his studies. The two documents will be used by IBC to authenticate the documents presented by Sakaja. The letter seen by the Star reads, the team also found out Sakaja's travel details, which they hope to produce if Sakaja decides to file a case in court. The tribunal is expected to render its decision on several petitions against Sakaja on Thursday, that is today. The degree qualification saga has exposed the high-stakes battle for control of Nairobi County. Nairobi being the capital of Kenya, any president would want to take firm control of his political leadership to ensure smooth collaboration in the management of the city. And both Azimio presidential candidate Raila Odinga and his main opponent Kenya Kwanza's DP William Ruto are therefore seen to be engaging in vicious political wars to capture the city's political leadership. And backing all right. Now the story goes, but I need to continue from that part of how they were able to get these papers. Now, the Commission for the University Education has, however, received material information about the authenticity of the degree you presented from Team University that will require further investigation. That is the letter yesterday from CUE. And then he went on to say that his old Professor Chacha Nyaigoti wrote to the chairman of the CUE, the Commission of University Education in Kenya. Consequently, in accordance to the CUE recognition procedures, we hereby revoke the recognition of your degree, Bachelor of Science in Management, externally from the aforementioned university. And of course, Dennis Gakuwa Home had petitioned the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission Dispute Resolution Committee, claiming Sakaja does not possess the required education qualification. And I think Sakaja has gone ahead to file a petition over this to challenge this. I don't know, at this point, because it appears from this story, I think the Star got a hold of an insider who hatched and who were preparing. So while Sakaja, they waited. When they say politics is a dirty game, then politics, you should know, is a dirty game. They waited until, Kenya Kwanza had made their pick, and of course they settled for Sakaja. They waited until probably there's no more time for Kenya Kwanza to find time and get another replacement, So, but the bottom line is, forgetting the political intrigues, does Sakaja has the required papers or not? Did he get a degree or not? And as it appears, when you read through, because I think Sakaja, yesterday after, he was cancelled, that was revoked, he tweeted showing some, the communication that had been going on that led up to him being, cleared. But I think it will be easier if he can, as what Kenyans were saying, if he can, because if you've gone to any learning institutions, there are college or higher universities, you do have the transcripts for all the units that you took. You have those. because those are things that you present. So maybe if he can present his whether you've done distance learning or physical learning or whatever kind of learning, you do have the transcripts. You're supposed to have them. You cannot be cleared to graduate in any institution if you don't have the transcripts. You must have the transcripts. They go through them and they ensure you've taken all the units that is required for the course that you're taking, and then you're cleared. So it will make it easier for him if he can provide the transcripts, if he can provide perhaps the date that he joined. I think that has not been mentioned, and I think when the clearance commission in Uganda was clearing, they should have, Team University should have indicated this was our student, he joined from this time and he completed to this time. There's no date of when he joined this Team University. Maybe he can provide payment details. Those are things you keep. I've kept all my receipts, the payments I've made for my school fees. You keep the receipts. You keep, and all the online classes I took during COVID, I do have the communication in my email. I have. So if need be, I will produce it. So that is much easier. You have them, Sakaja. You should produce that and support your case so that it's easier, the login details of this. I don't know if you had Zoom classes. I don't know if you're just being sent, learning materials online. But you should be able to share this. And the good thing with technology, you can't fake some of these timestamps when this happened. You can go back to the emails and they can show this was sent at this time. It will be easier for you, Sakaja, instead of just saying, I went to school and this is my graduation certificate. It doesn't work like that. So I think that is where, maybe Sakaja is finding it difficult. And his name, of course, as we know, did not appear for whatever reason in that graduates list in that year that he is purported to have graduated. So there are a couple of ways Sakaja could actually ascertain that he indeed graduated so that all this doubt is cleared out. But as it is, the only thing he has is his degree certificate. He's not provided with the school fees. He's not provided with the notes. He's not provided any information that supports that indeed he attended and he participated and he took part in these classes that led to him having graduated. At least the transcripts. That will be much easier, and they have the dates because you're having them online. So, because those are things that you can't lose. They're important, and when you are presenting, some of these things that would have helped to help clear out the air, but let's see how that will play out. But Sakaja has said he's going to challenge this, so I don't know if it's a good idea for him to go on, because I think a lot will be exposed, which might be very detrimental for him. Or I think it's that time you count your losses and you sort of prepare for next time. So, but that will be left to Sakaja, because I think he also has his democratic right to pursue this as far as he wants, and that is guaranteed in our constitution. But the question is, do you have the degree or not? I think it's very simple. And I'm joined this morning by Douglas Kirimi, all the way from Meru County. Douglas, a very good morning to you.
Good morning to you, Miriam Okutu, and also to our crew at our headquarters, to our friends across the world. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where they're watching us from. And I'm sorry, Miriam, I came in late. I was a bit held up.
It's okay. Thank you. Nevertheless, I'm happy that you've joined. And so the intrigue surrounding Sakaja's degree continue, and yesterday it was revoked. And Sakaja has vowed that he will be on the ballot. He said, don't count me out yet, I'll be there. He's going to challenge this. Is this the point where maybe he's supposed to just fold up, know when to fold up and know when to just let go, or, pursuing this thing further? What will that do to him if at all it's really indeed proved that this decree was fake? Because now he could be even facing jail time. It is a crime. Should it be established?
Miriam, I have a very huge problem with the Constitution of Kenya 2010. It has too many loopholes that it might grant people who have committed crimes an opportunity to come back to the public fora and also continue masquerading as people who have genuine papers and who have not attended the school, Miriam. The question is, does Sakaja have a degree? The issue at hand is Sakaja has no valid university degree, and there's no crime, Miriam, when you don't have a degree. There are millions of Kenyans who have no education. Sakaja belongs to a small percentage of Kenyans who are elites, who have also run for political office, who have been appointed by political parties to be nominated members of parliament. Sakaja and opportunities that millions of Kenyans, at least 95% of them, over 50 million Kenyans, do not have that opportunity, Miriam, of becoming the elite that he is today. And also Sakaja had an opportunity to go to school that he dropped out in 2007, Miriam. He had an opportunity of graduating in anything, including theology. And Miriam, and I'm not saying theology is a bad choice for a course in university, but Miriam, Sakaja issue brings us to the question. There are so many governors today whose academic credentials have been challenged before a court of law, and that court has granted orders that they continue serving while their cases are going on. And we know the system in Kenya, the judiciary is a weak link in these issues, because Miriam, at the end of the day, these judicial officers, Miriam, are human beings. God is not the end of judiciary. God is not the end of anti-corruption courts in Kenya. God is not even the one who chooses these judges, or a supreme being that is not a human being. They are going to be compromised along the way. But I hope that Sakaja stands on the very shoulders of people of integrity, honest people, and compose himself and leave the whole battle, Miriam, go to school, complete his course, and maybe come in 2027. And it's not a matter of life and death, Miriam, that Sakaja becomes the next governor of Nairobi County. Miriam, there are so many people out there who are enjoying their lives like yourself without a political office as a governor. He needs to take a break from active political life. We have so many numerous people running for governor of Nairobi. We can choose from a pool of qualified people according to the constitution. Mm-hmm. But Miriam, my question is to our court today. Please do not give us these people again to come and continue running our counties. And these are the same people who are accusing voters of voting these demagogues, people who have gone out of their way to continue, Miriam, running havoc into our systems and also our country. There are people in Nairobi who should be campaigning now, Miriam. There are people in Nairobi who should be busy with other things, but we are following proceedings of an academic fraud, Miriam. And there is no problem. If you have no academic credentials, there's no problem. You can go back to school at whatever age that you can. But for Sakaja and judiciary, we are watching you, because Sakaja is blaming President Uhuru Kenyatta. President Uhuru Kenyatta has a degree and he is retiring as a president. So Sakaja, please go get your degree, then come argue with the president that has finished his 10 years as a president, many years as an MP, as a deputy prime minister, and all that. Please leave the president out of this. He did not ask you to leave school or maybe drop out of school, because the president even gave you a job as a chairman of TNA, gave you a job as a nominated member of parliament, and helped you to become the senator for Nairobi. Please be grateful to your benefactor, President Uhuru Kenyatta, and not insult him. Please leave him out of your own battles. If Douglas Bundi Keremi has no degree, he can go back to school and get a degree. And Miriam, the issue of degrees, the constitution says you should have a valid university degree. Okay. The question stops at that. You should not bring other shenanigans over the whole issue, because Miriam, at the end of the day, it sets a very bad precedent. So I know that myself, Douglas Kiremi, if I want to run for governor of Meru or governor of Nairobi in future, I can forge a degree certificate, Miriam, and go ahead and when it is challenged, I can go to court and also get back again and get elected, Miriam. It is setting a very bad precedent. Please, Sakaja, please get out of the race and go home. Okay. You have other things to do. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. And you've said, maybe Sakaja should just, leave politics, because I'm not in politics and I'm enjoying my life. That is because I have no political bone in me, Douglas. I would never even have a dream of becoming a politician. It's just not me. But I know you are a politician. So Sakaja, that's what he was, and that's the life he's used to. So I think telling him to be something different will be a bit problematic for him. But here's the thing, even as much as he's laying the blame now on the government and President Uhuru Kenyatta particularly, Just a very quick history on Team University. It is a private university licensed by Uganda's National Council for Higher Education. It is accredited to award undergraduate degrees. It started out in a rented primary school space as Team Business College in 2001. It was granted a letter of interim authority to operate as a private university on December 18, 2007, and then it was given full charter for National Council for Higher Education in October 2010. So we are together until that point. And then it was licensed to offer open and distance learning in 2020. So that was way after Sakaja had graduated. So when Sakaja had graduated, this university had not been licensed to offer open and distance learning. So what kind of magic happened for Sakaja to have been allowed to study online? And yet the university was not offering that during that time that he went to school and he graduated.
Miriam, proving the path to your education is very simple. For example, I was a student at Robert Kennedy school in Switzerland, at University of Kimburia. And I have a professor that inducted me into the system, Professor David Costa. I can trace back. Example, if I talk about South Africa, if I talk about the United States of America, and also talk about Britain, it is very easy to talk. But proving a path to South Africa and how you got there, I have to also prove to you with a passport that has been stamped as I got in and as I got out, and also maybe my transport, my fees, my airport transfers, my air tickets and all that. I need to also prove to you, because they also write emails to you. I need to prove to you correspondence and all that. Maybe pictures that I took in Durban, South Africa, that I took in KwaZulu Natal, and all those things, Miriam. Because at the end of the day, what we need to do now, because this issue has been challenged, like we did some analysis yesterday and we said that now that the credentials of one Johnson, other Sakaja, Kosgei, has been challenged in a court of law, he needs to prove a path to his degree, a path that he used to get to his degree. Because Sakaja has been moving around saying that he is an actuarial science graduate from the University of Nairobi. And he said he has never had an urge to go outside the country. That was an interview that he gave in 2020, Miriam. And this shows you that the question of integrity, he has failed the test of integrity. As a person, as a law-abiding citizen, I would ask of the same of Sakaja. If I'm caught in a quagmire, if I'm caught in an issue, I need to also apologize to the people of Kenya and leave the stage for some time, Miriam. There are other positions that do not require a university degree. Sakaja can do so many other things. He can become a political consultant. He has an excellent brain and all that. But Miriam, if this university was licensed to offer courses online courses in 2020, and which I think was also precipitated by the coronavirus, Sakaja cannot allude to have studied and graduated in 2016 as an external student, whereas these programs were not available for external people, students or clients prior to 2020 declaration by the university. We need to also tell Sakaja the truth, that as long as he has gone to the court, we need to also have him with the documentation, bank statements. How did he transfer the money? If that money was transferred by a relative that was living in Uganda, let's say he did not transfer the money from the capital city of Nairobi, of Kenya, Nairobi, we need to also know, we need to check from the accounts department, the receipts of those years. There is a receipting system in a university that you cannot cheat, that the financial accounts is the most efficient in every university, that a student has been faithfully paying for their school fees, because also paying school fees is also a path to your degree, is also a path to a certificate or a diploma, because you cannot be awarded a degree and cleared to leave university without, or a college, without having cleared their full school fees. We need to also be telling Sakaja that he is also facing the law in a very unprecedented times, that him, Johnson Ada Sakaja, the senator for Nairobi, is facing 3 years in jail, Miriam. If he apologizes to the people of Kenya before he is taken to court, or before he rushes to court, because I understand he is said to have gone to court, he faces 3 years in jail. a whole senator coming from grass to grace, grace to grass, Miriam. We need to also set a very good precedent for future leaders. If you want to become a governor, wherever you want to become governor, please, the constitution is very clear. Get a degree, whether it is in mechatronic engineering, whether it's biology, whether it's an anthropologist, whatever. Anthropology, you can go and get a degree, and then you can come back and run as a governor.
And for him,
Sakaja
I think it's,
forged a degree, Miriam.
For him,
and
it's
this
easier.
is very,
yeah, for him it's easier because he already started on his actuarial science degree at the University of Nairobi, so it's just a matter of maybe completing the the project.
Then
I
it
don't
can
know
come
why
in
it's not
2027, Miriam. We are wasting our time.
Okay, so let's move on then to another story now. Azimio leader Raila Odinga's announcement that Kitui Governor Charity Ngilu will not defend her seat has exposed the behind-the-scenes intrigues to consolidate the Ukambani vote. The Star has established that Ngilu's decision is part of a plan by President Uhuru Kenyatta, Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka, and Raila to appease the Kamba nation. Ngilu is said to be Raila's health minister designate should Azimio form the next government, easing pressure on Wiper to recapture the Kitui governor's seat. Wiper's Julius Malombe will face off with David Musila of Jubilee in the battle for Kitui. And so whoever you elect, whether it is Malombe or Musila, it will be you who decide, because we want to send Ngilu to Nairobi, Raila said. What do you make of this move? It seemed like a huge sacrifice, especially on Ngilu's part.
Miriam, I'm so proud of Governor Charity Ngilu of Kitui Central, formerly of Kitui Central as an MP for so many years. And remember, Miriam, it was so nostalgic. I was around 5 years when Ngilu ran for president, and all over the country we were singing Masani Ngilu. It's Ngilu's time, and it was so nostalgic. The posters that she did those years, I've never seen such beautiful photos of herself and posters. Ngilu for president, Charity Karuki Ngilu for president, and all that. And then she came in as continued becoming a member of parliament, became an health minister, did excellently, and also became the governor of Kitui, the first governor of Kitui. In Ukambani, she is the first woman governor, and I cannot wrap my mind around Charity Ngilu leaving active politics for a position, appointive position. Charity Ngilu is an iron lady, and nobody should interfere with her ambition. Nobody should promise her anything. I wish Charity Ngilu, who has transformed Kitui County tremendously, I wish she can come back for another 5 years and complete her term, and also maybe come in future and run for President of the Republic of Kenya, Miriam. I do not want to wrap my mind around the Charity Ngilu of 1997 running on SDP and causing waves, and also letting the people of Kenya know that women can create their own spaces, and also women can become stewards of leadership, and also can become stewards of leadership and pass the baton to the next generation. And I would want to know from the people of Kitui that Charity Ngilu has been able to serve and also bring a lot of programs. I have a gubernatorial candidate in Meru who has copied the Kitui Care NHIF program, kind of an insurance fund where people are paid for the insurance, medical insurance is paid for, all they need to avail themselves when they are sick, and also that card, and the county government of Kitui pays that, and the youth industries that have been able to transform the lives of people in Kitui, and all that, Miriam. So political intrigues in Ukambani or in Azimio la Umoja should not blindfold our eyes and deny us another chance of having a woman governor. I'm pro-women empowerment, and I'm pro-Charity Ngilu. Charity Ngilu has done tremendously, has performed tremendously, has performed well in her role as governor. She's one of the governors who have had a good time running for the county of Kitui, and also running our own government, making sure that everything goes well for the residents of Kitui County. Miriam, from the bottom of my heart, I'm disappointed by the Azimio la Umoja presidential candidate, the Honorable Raila Odinga, and people like Kalonzo Musyoka who want to kill the grand dream of a better working Kitui. We have had issues before when Marombe was governor of Kitui, but when Charity Ngilu came, brought in networks, brought in national government, and also brought President Uhuru Kenyatta, Kikomi, the Kitui and cotton and the Kitui garment industries, I think it's called Kikomi, that she has also been able to bring to life, and also make sure that thousands of women, rural women that could have been housewives in rural Kitui, have an access to a job, have an access to medical cover, have an access to education, have an access to exposure, that their families cannot sleep angry because Charity Ngilu, the governor of Kitui, had made it possible, Miriam. We have had leaders in Ukambani for so many years since independence, and they have not been able to transform the lives of the residents of Kitui County. I know there's a woman in that garment industry in Kitui County that prays that Governor Ngilu comes for another 5 years to bring another transformative idea that can be able to transform Kitui County. Okay. We cannot sacrifice Charity Ngilu for Julius Marombe for heaven's sake. We cannot sacrifice Charity Ngilu for the sake of political, because the right honorable Raila Odinga wants to be politically correct, or he is being coerced by Kalonzo Musyoka. At this point, Miriam, I think that Raila himself should concentrate on his presidential bid, because Miriam, this micromanaging issues is also bringing problems in Nyanza. I support whatever they are doing and also support what the other side is doing, but micromanaging county issues or ward issues, you will find some places in Siaya, in Kisumu, in Kisumu County, and also Kakamega and Omabe. You find that ODM leader is micromanaging what is happening there. I wouldn't want him to come to Kambani and do the same, Miriam, because a leader is the impact that they live on the people's lives. A leader is not their name, a leader is not their clothing, a leader is what they do to transform the lives of people. And I agree and I pray that Charity Ngilu, the governor of Kitui, comes back as the governor. Thank you.
I don't know, because it appears that decision was, there was a consensus around it, in as much as that is that, but they want to be very strategic on how they go about it. But I think, I don't know, I'm sure a lot of voters in Kitui have been disappointed. Kikomi, the last I checked, it was in Kisumu. I don't know if they have another one in Kitui, but I do know that she brought the EPZ, the export processing zone in Kitui. And
excuse me, Miriam?
I'm saying Kikomi.
It's
Kikomi is in Kisumu, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, Kikomi is in Kisumu.
Yes, all right.
Kikotek is in...
very well. But I'm sure, like you've said, a lot of voters in Kitui must have been disappointed and have supporters. But hey, that is politics, and compromise is part of it. Okay, so there is a pictorial on page 8 on the Star newspaper of Keroche CEO Tabitha Karanja and a group of parliamentarians during a visit to the Naivasha-based factory after KRA closed it following a fresh tax row. Yesterday, the MPs accused KRA of turning tax rows into political wars and warned this will erode investor confidence. But this is something that was ongoing before even Tabitha announced that she wanted to vie for any political seat. Matter of fact, after I think she announced, a lot of people were shocked. Sometimes mixing politics and business is not usually good, but it has worked for a few. But this is something that existed, Douglas. This is a problem she's been having. And just the other day, maybe a month or so ago, she came out and said that is not her company. So now, why is she taking parliamentarians there, to complain about the place being closed? She said that does not belong. She's an employee there. It's not hers.
Miriam, I'm very sad that politics have taken the center stage of our economy. Miriam, honestly, you pay taxes, I pay taxes without complaint and all that. But the leader of Keroche Breweries, or the CEO and founder, Tabitha Karanja, has been evading tax, and also as charged by or accused by the Kenya Revenue Authority. She has tax evaded for so long. Now we need to also bring her to book. We also need to charge her in a court of law after she pays the taxes that she owes in billions of shillings to the KRA. We need to pay our roads. We need to build hospitals. We need to equip our hospitals. We need to employ people. We need industries like Kikotek in Kitui County that the governor of Kitui Charity Ngilu brought to the fore. We need MYS, Meru Youth Service, that Kiraito Murungi of Meru brought to the fore. And these are funded by taxpayers' money. The money that is sent to Nairobi as taxes is distributed back to counties to bring transformative change in these counties, Miriam. When you tell us if you don't pay your taxes that amounts into billions of shillings, Kenya shillings, you are telling us that it's going to erode investor. It's going to bring investor apathy, if I may call it. But you are not telling us the truth that you have not been paying your taxes, and those taxes have not the tax that you evaded from paying, you did not use it to employ more workers or increase the salary of your people, or also did something similar that the government is doing. And Miriam, if you are an economic crime suspect, like our businesswoman, super businesswoman from Naivasha, Tabitha Karanja, who has been evading paying taxes, and now she's accusing us, the government or the KRA of investor erosion. Miriam, that does not make sense, and every Kenyan is paying taxes, Miriam. One thing that sinks my heart is that to realize that there are people who are waking up in the morning, walk to work and walk back to home after work and pay FT taxes, but a billionaire, a dollar billionaire or a dollar millionaire like Tabitha Karanja would want to politicize tax evasion, a crime that is punishable by closure of a business or takeover of that business, or maybe serving a jail term. And Miriam, I'm not comfortable when she tells us that investor erosion is going to happen in our country, whereas she has been hoarding billions of dollars from government that can bring transformative changes in this country.
Okay.
The same Tabitha Karanja stands in a political podium in Naivasha or Nakuru County, where she's running for Senate under the United Democratic Alliance Party of the Deputy President, and accuses the government of not giving opportunities to Naivasha youths, where the Keroche brewery is situated, Miriam. The same woman is giving us problems, Miriam, telling us that women with dreams and ambitions are being stifled by this administration. And they're saying the same on a podium that a deputy president elected, duly elected and sworn in for 2 terms, together with the president, because that is a joint ticket, Miriam, for 2 terms. And they tell us, together with William Ruto, that women are being stifled out of business, and we are stopping the dreams of women that can bring transformative changes in this country, Miriam. I do not agree with her. There's no investor erosion. Even in countries where people can go ahead and do a lot of programs and all that, people are required to pay taxes, Miriam.
All right.
When you go to the United States of America,
yes,
or maybe the UK, Miriam, there are so many people who are working there and paying huge taxes to make those countries work. Our country cannot work if Tabitha does not pay taxes, Miriam.
Let Keroche pay its taxes. And Tabitha, the other day, like I said, came out and said that is not her company. She's just an employee in that company. So now I wonder. Okay, so let's just move on to another matter before there's a story also we want to look at very quickly, because time is really not on our side. So we just keep it just a little short. And on page 9 on the Star newspaper, Director of Public Prosecutions Nuruddin Haji now says suspects in the KEMSA COVID-19 scandal have not been brought to book because the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission failed to investigate them. Through Chief of Staff Lillian Obuo, Haji on Wednesday said EACC has cut communication with his office over the matter. The DPP's office said the war against the scandal has not started because the institutions involved have failed to do their job effectively. We only prosecute and not investigate if some people have not done their part in doing an effective investigation of the matter. We cannot fault, Obuo said. She addressed protesters who handed petitions against the case to the DPP's office. The protesters were led by Transparency International Executive Director Sheila Masinde and Alan Maleche, the Executive Director of Kenya Legal and Ethical Issues Network on HIV and AIDS. They said President Uhuru Kenyatta giving a 21 days ultimatum on August 2022 to have the matter investigated and perpetrators prosecuted, and nothing has happened since. The scandal involved the loss of 7.8 billion Kenya shillings and protective gear that was meant for the fight against COVID-19. And so I think the key matter here is Haji now is blaming the DPP, Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, is blaming the EACC for failing to investigate these people so that the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions can take on the prosecutions. As a Kenyan who we've been really waiting for something to be done over this money and over this scandal. And as this civil society is reminded the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, because they went protesting there, that the president, gave 21 days. That was when 2020. We are in 2022. So what is really going on? Douglas.
Miriam, I have no kind words for the Directorate of the Office of Public Prosecutions, because I do not wrap my mind around an officer of government or an independent office, constitutional office, giving excuses why they have not been able to apprehend the KEMSA scandal criminals. And at this point, Miriam, we are going to grapple with an issue that I find to be very sickening. As a nation, we cannot promise to be fighting corruption, but we are having a government that has institutions that have not been able to properly work on the criminal cases. If the Office of Public Prosecutions is not accusing the DCI of not doing something, they are accusing the EACC of not doing something. And I think from my perspective, Miriam, that the Office of Public Prosecutions is not committed to the fight against corruption and is not committed to serving the people of Kenya, whose office and mandate is service to Kenya and industry to the people of Kenya. Because, Miriam, at the end of the day, we have Nordinaji, who goes on national television and tells the people of Kenya, I'm working for you, I'm securing this and this and this, but at the end of the day, he's not doing the same. And I feel sad as a Kenyan, and I feel that these independent offices sometimes that we are called, that are called independent constitutional offices, sometimes are incompetent because they are protected by the Constitution, Miriam. I think we do not have proper control of the Director of Public Prosecutions Office, because, Miriam, they have stagnated and maybe killed a lot of cases that would have brought the culprits to book and also deterred some people in future, or maybe set a precedent in future to have to deter themselves from crime, or maybe corruption, Media. Because at the end of the day, we also had President Uhuru Kenyatta gave them an ultimatum of 21 days to investigate and also report back to him. 2 years later, Miriam, the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, Public Prosecutions is telling us that the EACC did not investigate, or maybe did not forward the clear files to them. And what did they have to do for 2 years to discover that those files were not forwarded to them, or they did not investigate, Miriam? And sometimes those excuses can be very lame, Miriam, especially when they are coming from an office that has been committed, or maybe that has been given the jurisdiction to act for on behalf of the people of Kenya, to give us justice, Miriam. Until when the people of Kenya will continue suffering under the hands of incompetent public officials who are paid by our taxes, and when the president gives a directive, they ignore it and take about 2 years. Then they respond later and tell us that we have not done this and this and this and this because of this and this. If a file was supposed to come from the EACC, and also that file to have been investigated, they should have raised an alarm some months in 2020 or some months in 2021. We're in 2022, for heaven's sake, Miriam.
Okay.
They should not be able to take advantage of the people of Kenya, patience and also trust that has been thrust on them, Miriam.
2 years later, this is painful. The headline on the Standard newspaper, the 1 million votes that could threaten the poll, that is something that we shall look at on top of the hour. It's just a few minutes to top of the hour. But something quickly, a Kenyan's inability, I'm reading from page 7 on the Daily Nation, a Kenya's inability to honor its debt obligations has been exposed in a report by Auditor General, which also reveals that the government has defaulted on servicing its loans by 5.11 billion Kenya shillings. The defaults exposes Kenyans to risk of legal suits that may lead to penalties and subsequent loss of public resources. And the defaulted amount relates to 3 loans advanced by the International Bank towards the construction of 3 dams, Arol and Kimarel multi-purpose dams in Elgeyo Marakwet County and Itari Dam in Nakuru County. The audit report on the accounts of the National Treasury for the 2020-2021 financial year shows that 790.7 million Kenya shillings was to be paid for the Arol Dam loan, 3.1 billion Kenya shillings for Itare, and 1.26 billion for Kimarel. So that money was lost, Douglas, and we've had a conversation about this from the start of this scandal, I believe. And there's no dam in Kimarel and Aror and Itare. But the fact that we still have to pay for this, if this does not make our heads spin as Kenyans, then something is seriously wrong for us, with us, because now the government has to default because it has also other things that it has to look at and it cannot afford to pay. So it is defaulting. Then that will mean more problem for us as a country financially in servicing our debts. But the fact that we still have to pay for this money that has been taken through corruption, this is insane. But we're obligated to pay.
Miriam, I'm tired. We've talked about this for over 3 years now. We've asked that the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, actually they gave a report and they said that some of the money was used to buy political royalty in terms of campaign vehicles for 2022. Some of the money was found at the Deputy President's hotel, Dolphins Hotel in Mombasa, in Shanzu. It was used to buy tiles. It was also used to buy silverware for the hotel's restaurant. It was used to buy bed sheets and also blankets and duvets and all that. But if that report was never acted on, Miriam, and today people want to write to us that there's a company in Italy, a mysterious company that gave a bid for the tenders, for the 2 tenders, Kemwarel and Aror and Itare Dam, and disappeared into thick air, Miriam. The trail of money was between Germany, Italy, and then it was sent to a small bank branch in West France, and money was withdrawn in such, Miriam. And we are taught that we should not be talking about corruption. We are politicizing it because it involves the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Ruto. Miriam, we need to also become serious as a nation. It is sickening when the Office of Public Prosecutions tells us, and their director tells us, that they cannot be able to prosecute these cases, oh, this and this is not involved, but there is a file on financial trail. Money has been traded from Italy and also to Germany and to some small bank in Westlands, and money was withdrawn in sacks against the regulations of the Central Bank of Kenya, and that money was sent to a powerful man's office who is the Deputy President, and now we are being told that we should pay the interest and also the loans, and we have no dam in Kimwarel. Kimwarel village is where the former Finance Minister Henry Rotich comes from. It is absurd, it is disgusting, and it is very, 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 very uncomfortable for a person who is a citizen of the Republic of Kenya, where we are financing someone's presidential dreams and buying of royalty using proceeds that could have done the dams for the people of Kenya, loans that could have transformed the lives of the people of Kenya. After they have stolen money from Aror and Kimwarel, Miriam, there was a story that was ran on TV that there was a fund that defrauded the Kimwarel village in Elgeyo Marakwet, Miriam. And when that funding came, the residents were saying, if this dam was around, we could not be having these perennial floods. This year it is going to flood in Elgeyo Marakwet. This year William Ruto is going to ask for votes from Elgeyo Marakwet residents. This year, the former leader of my majority in the Senate, Kipchumba Murkomen, is going to ask for re-election as a senator from Elgeyo Marakwet. And this very man who participated in stealing of their damn money, Miriam, is coming back and telling their people that the government of President Uhuru Kenyatta seated in Nairobi has stolen your money, this country is wrong, and all that, Miriam.
All right.
The same people should be telling the people of Elgeyo Marakwet there's a dam in Kiambu County, Karimeno Dam, that has been completed, Miriam. I think it's around 99% complete.
There is a dam called the Viva Dam that the president has been able to construct in Moya, in Kirinyaga County. Viva Dam is one of the biggest dams around, and it is going to put more arable land into rice farming throughout the year. And these very same people, Miriam, are not telling us the other projects in the country that have gone into completion because people are shunned away from stealing from the people of Kenya. And we, the people of Kenya, are asking questions. When will William Ruto be summoned in a court of law through proxies? When will William Ruto through proxies be summoned and be jailed for stealing from the people of Kenya, for stealing from his kinsmen in Eregio Marakwet, in Itare, in Nakuru County, Miriam? We need to ask ourselves, why are we electing shellfish leaders who are going to benefit their families and their wives and all that? We heard that Deputy President William Ruto made a call to Kenya Meat Commission that they should be able to give a tender of 200 million for supply of cows to his son's Koirel Farm Limited to Nick Ruto. And I ask myself, and this question as I conclude on my point, when will a son of a poor person place a phone call at KMC and get the same? Until you steal from a country, until the president is forced to place that country under receivership of the military officers in this country. Because that's true receivership, Miriam. Because in this country, we are entertaining thugs and criminals and economic saboteurs for these seats, Miriam. And I'm not saying anyone should not be elected. If you want to elect a thief, please continue another 5 years. If you want to elect a Mandra, another 5 years, Miriam. If you want to elect a drug lord, another 5 years, Miriam. It is very disgusting. We cannot be paying for sins of William Ruto and his friends, Miriam. We cannot.
Okay. Very well. Now, the three international firms, Cooperativa Muratori and Semen Ntitsi, CMC di Ravenna and Society Cooperativa of Italy, and Atinera Spa and CMC di Rivana Itinera JVSCPA were contracted to build Aurora and Kimorer. I might have not read some of those names right. Forgive me, I don't speak Italian. However, the projects were cancelled over irregularities in the tendering, with the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, DCI, taking up the matter. See, I have a problem with that because they're not giving us updates of what is really happening in these dams. The three companies are already in court seeking 11.4 billion Kenya shillings in breach of agreement against the government. They also want the court to establish that the cancellation was illegal. Okay. The Itare Dam project had been awarded to CMC di Ravenna, but the Italian firm deserted the site and filed bankruptcy proceedings in its home country even before work on the two projects could start, but was not declared bankrupt. So after receiving the money, they went back quickly. This is the Italian mafia. And they filed for bankruptcy after having been paid. Okay. All right, thank you so much. Don't go too far. We shall be back with another show where we shall continue looking at the preparation of our elections and what we are up against, even as we count just 53 days to our general election. This has been Good Morning Africa. Thank you so much, Douglas Kirimi. And our viewers, don't go too far. We shall be back in a bit. My name is Miriam Ogote. Good morning.